Some deaths are impossible to forget, not because they are famous, but because of the sheer helplessness of the victims in their final moments. Accidental deaths can be among the most traumatic to learn about, particularly when a person's final moments are marked by terror, confusion, or the cruel inevitability of their circumstances. Think of John Jones, who died trapped upside down in the claustrophobic confines of Nutty Putty Cave in Utah, slowly suffocating as the earth pressed in around him. Or Jorge Torres, who met a horrifying fate when locked inside a suitcase by his girlfriend, left to asphyxiate without any chance of escape. Then there is the lesser-known yet equally haunting case of Larry Ely Murillo-Moncada, a young man whose life ended in a way that was as tragic as it was bizarre. Larry Murillo, a 25-year-old employee at the No Frills supermarket in Council Bluffs, Iowa, struggled with depression and anxiety. Despite therapy and medication, the strain of daily life overwhelmed him. His friends described him as kind, quiet, and prone to intense introspection and anxiety. On Thanksgiving night in 2009, Larry's mental health worsened. Disoriented and confused after work, his mother, Ana Moncada, noticed the difference. Concerned, she took him to a doctor who prescribed new medication for his anxiety. However, the condition worsened. Larry began hearing voices, experiencing hallucinations, and exhibiting behaviors that worried his family. On November 28th, a day after his panic, he told Ana that the voices instructed him to eat sugar to calm his racing heart. It didn't work. His fear escalated, and he became convinced that someone was pursuing him. Ana tried to reassure him, but her words fell on deaf ears. In a state of panic, Larry fled the house barefoot, leaving essentials behind. He was disoriented, with no plan for safety. Larry's sudden disappearance threw his family into immediate panic. Ana, fearing the worst, contacted the authorities, filed a missing persons report, and reached out to friends and relatives, desperate to locate her son. Despite these efforts, Larry remained untraceable. Ana, relying on a combination of maternal instinct and hope, speculated that Larry may have sought refuge at the No Frills supermarket, where he had a set of keys to enter the building even after hours. However, initial searches of the store revealed nothing. No trace of Larry, no clues, and no indication that he had even been there. Larry's disappearance baffled authorities, the public, and his loved ones. His bank accounts remained untouched. His friends had not heard from him, and no one had seen him in the days following his flight from home. Theories abounded, ranging from voluntary disappearance to foul play, but no solid evidence emerged. Larry's case faded from news coverage, though for his family, the anxiety and worry never waned. Every day without word of Larry weighed heavily on Ana and her husband, Victor, as they imagined all the possible horrors that could have befallen him. As the years passed, the case grew cold. Missing persons flyers were taken down. Local news coverage dwindled, and Larry's fate became a lingering, unanswered question. Yet even as hope began to wane, Ana's intuition never faltered. She remained convinced that her son had somehow ended up at the supermarket. In 2019, a decade after Larry vanished and 3 years after the No Frills supermarket had closed its doors, renovation workers were sent into the abandoned building to clear out remaining shelves and furniture for new ownership. Their discovery shocked everyone involved. The decaying body of a man, trapped behind the heavy coolers, wedged into a narrow 18-inch gap between the wall and the machines. Larry had become completely immobilized, unable to turn, climb, or maneuver himself into a less dangerous position. The details of the scene were both tragic and horrifying. Larry had likely climbed atop the coolers, either to rest, escape from the stress of his thoughts, or find some sense of calm amid the chaos in his mind. But he had slipped, falling backwards into the narrow space and becoming completely trapped. For hours, or perhaps days, he would have been helpless, unable to move, and muffled by the noise of the coolers. The terrifying thought of being trapped and isolated so close to potential rescuers yet completely unheard, made the tragedy all the more gut-wrenching. Ana Moncada's intuition, voiced years earlier, had been tragically correct. Her son had gone to the supermarket, seeking a moment of peace, only to meet a terrifyingly accidental end. Initial identification was difficult due to the state of decomposition, but clothing provided confirmation. Larry was wearing jeans and a shirt, and consistent with the night he fled, he had no socks or shoes. DNA testing later confirmed the grim truth. The trapped man was indeed Larry Ely Murillo-Moncada. Subsequent interviews with former co-workers provided a clearer, yet no less tragic, picture. Employees occasionally climbed atop the coolers for storage or respite. Larry, likely overwhelmed by voices and hallucinations, may have attempted the same, seeking refuge from the chaos in his mind. However, the accident proved fatal. He fell 12 feet into the tight gap behind the machines, unable to escape or signal for help. The cause of death remains uncertain, but the sheer terror and helplessness of his final hours is undeniable. Even after Larry's body was discovered, questions lingered. How could the pungent smell of decay have gone unnoticed? Why was nobody able to hear his muffled cries? The answers remain partly speculative, but they underscore the cruel randomness of his fate. A young life cut short by circumstances and mental health struggles. Victor Murillo, Larry's father, expressed the family's anguish. "We're shocked and distressed to find out after so many years. It's a lot of pain." After 10 years of uncertainty, the family finally had confirmation of what had happened to Larry, though the closure came at an unimaginable cost. Larry Ely Murillo-Moncada's story is a haunting reminder of life's fragility, the tragic intersection of mental health struggles and ordinary environments, and how small accidents can turn fatal under unexpected circumstances. His silent and terrifying death serves as a cautionary tale for those working with vulnerable individuals, families navigating mental health challenges, and communities vigilant to hidden dangers in mundane spaces. Larry's case also reminds us of the small details that can be overlooked. Machinery sounds, routine behaviors, parental intuition, all factors that combined with tragedy shaped a bizarre and deeply heart-rending story. Stay curious, stay safe, and check on your loved ones, especially those struggling with mental health. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support helps keep these stories alive. Until next time.